Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready, here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight on Radio Emotion's Electric 80s. We're going back full 80s, kicking it off there with Duran Duran, A View to a Kill, Pat Benatar. You can't beat those. Devo, Whip It. Those are bringing back all the keyboard memories that you remembered if you were there. But first, we're going to have another episode of The Ugly Truth, but I'm shifting gears a bit. There's just too much going on in the world, stressing me out. So I'm shifting back to a bit of pop cultures and movies. And I want to talk about a movie coming up, a bit of a trailer reaction and a trailer review. I think I haven't done one for a bit because, frankly, the movies that I had hoped, especially for what were supposed to be the summer blockbusters, at least in America, the big summer blockbusters, I don't think they busted any blocks. I think they're lucky if a lot of the big studios, broke even. And these are big names. These are movies like Superman, trying to revive that, and Marvel movies, and so much they had pinned their hopes on that I think didn't pan out as well as they thought. And as much as I love a good blockbuster, I think there's room for all kinds of movies. And I do wish, in general, Hollywood would go back to, as much as a movie fan, I like them to hear my feedback. I'm going to be honest. I think everyone and social media and having such immediate influence, and the minute a movie comes out, people start loving it or bagging it, and it's immediately divisive, kind of like politics at the moment. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I think it doesn't give a movie room to breathe, if that makes sense. Before I get into it, I'm going to be talking about the trailer for the movie called The Bride. It's going to be coming out March next year. Directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, which I think is right there, really intriguing. I think she's a great actress and really interesting. But movies in general, I feel like, they just did what they did. Of course, all through the history of movies, they were looking to get an audience and make money. That's every product in the world, folks, even art. Even your most dyed-in-the-wool artist that's only doing it for love, even in music, they got to pay the bills. So I'm not saying movies weren't looking to make a return. Having said that, I do think that whether it was a story that the writer was passionate about, and then it was adapted into a movie, and then a director got on board. I can envision this, how it's going to go. And then the producer said, yeah, I'm behind it. This is a passion project. Let's make it work. I'm not saying every movie was like that, but I do believe most of them, like anything, like a piece of art, it was more about doing it and the art. And then, of course, you sit back and you hope you get paid. You hope you have a good return. And when the reviews came in, I'll be honest, the movie had already been out, possibly for a couple months, maybe longer. A good long run in the theater. Word of mouth, of course, is a huge thing, and that has always been around. Word of mouth would get around, and that can spread pretty fast. But still, I feel it's still not as fast as someone, especially, every wannabe YouTuber, and look, I'm one of them. My shows go on streaming, but there's the ones that have actual influence, and there are hundreds in between who have medium influence, and then all the dregs. But the point is, there's always someone who gets a preview. This is before the movie comes out. They get an electronic press kit. They get some more behind the scenes. They watch it, and if they do like it, yeah, I'm going to say that helps the movie. But you got to watch out if someone doesn't like it, because that will spread like wildfire, especially on social media. So I guess the point is is Hollywood in general is now so much very in touch with that, and I feel like they change their movies and they change their minds. Reshoots are a huge thing. So many movies, even including the latest Superman, DC, Marvel, especially in the last 5 years, easily. There's always the initial cut, and they bring sometimes actors back after they've all gone for reshoots, and they retool the movie because the test audience didn't like it. Again, test audiences aren't a new thing. That's been going on for a long time. And again, because I'm a total nerd and plugged into all that, when the test audience, there's always one person, even though they're sworn to silence, there's always someone who has, leaks information to someone else, whether on purpose or not. And then they'll get, I've got an insider who saw the movie and they said it's crap. And and that's it. So I guess my point is they're not just doing it anymore for art's sake. They're not, just letting the chips fall where they may. They're trying too hard. They've become tryhards. No one likes to try hard. And that's what Hollywood has become. They're trying so hard to get that perfect formula. And sometimes you can't. You gotta try something new. You gotta throw the spaghetti against the wall, see if it sticks. Okay, it's as simple as that. So I wish they would return to that. Is my point, and not worry so much about what are you hearing? Do we have to retool it? Even that famously happened with Mission Impossible, and there were reshoots for the DC movies, and they brought them back for Justice League for reshoots. And, frankly, that one was extreme because people can tell, especially if months have gone by, maybe up to a year. Within that, still, people change. People gain weight, or they're changing for another movie. And that happened again in a lot of movies. They come back and you see a shot and you're like, wow, it cut to another shot and it looks like the dude gained 10 pounds. Probably did. So yeah, in general, I wish they would just make movies for making movies' sake. And so this one that I'm going to talk about, I've been looking for someone to review it, but not a lot of people have. So I'm going to review it, and I hope maybe others do. So this is The Bride, written, directed, and produced by Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think that, again, that is really pretty cool. And, I'm sure everybody has some idea of Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster, and all those classic versions of it in the early days of Hollywood. And of course, along with Frankenstein's monster, and I say that because people often get that wrong and it drives me crazy. They call him Frankenstein. He's not Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein is Frankenstein. Frankenstein's monster is Frankenstein's monster. He has no name. His name is, okay. But look, if you're a fan or not, I'm sure somewhere in your life you've seen an image or a snippet in your mind about the Bride of Frankenstein. And that movie, funny enough, the actual Bride, didn't get a lot of screen time, I must say. And that is interesting. And again, this is not spoiler alert. This is just, we're going to talk about the overview and the basic plot, and you can get this from the trailer. By the way, I'm not going to watch the full trailer. I might slip that in later if I put it online, but I'm broadcasting on radio at the moment, so it would be a bit confusing to hear that. But definitely look up The Bride, have a watch on YouTube. I'll put the link, obviously, when it goes on YouTube. Definitely watch it. It's fantastic. But yeah, so The Bride of Frankenstein, funny enough, she didn't get a lot of screen time. And, it was towards the part where they were basically, wanted to create a wife for Frankenstein's monster. He was getting bored with the bachelor life, and he needed someone to say, have you picked up the laundry? Anyway, I'm joking, but it didn't work out, and that theme has gone through a lot of reiterations of The Bride. Usually, the bride is like, and hates Frankenstein's monster. So that relationship usually doesn't work out. Interestingly enough, in this trailer, it looks like Frankie, as she calls him, which is kind of funny, and the bride looks like they're a bit of a dastardly duo. And that's kind of cool. I like that. And the other interesting thing is this takes place in 1930s Chicago. And that's a pretty cool time, because I feel like, Frankenstein tends to be set more in the early era before the sort of modern age, 20th century age. It's more set before that, on the cusp. So 1930 Chicago, that's pretty cool. Some gangster action. So yeah, this is coming out March 6th, 2026. So I'll put it to you like this. This was something that, how it was described at CinemaCon in Las Vegas. And you take this, and I'm taking this with a grain of salt. They said it's like Bonnie and Clyde and Wild at Heart, great movie, and all those characters, but ours has petrol in its skin, and we're holding a match to it. Also calling it the punkest love that's ever existed. I'm also thinking very much Mickey and Mallory Knox from Natural Born Killers. Woody Harrelson, Juliette Lewis. Again, if you're a movie fan, you would have definitely seen that. If not, check it out. So I should have said this first. I was going to say, when I saw it and when you see the trailer, I do think there is an interesting tone of Bonnie and Clyde, because it shows them together. They're sort of running from the cops or running from people, and they're dressed. Look, maybe it's just because it's that era, and whoever's doing the dress and the wardrobe, they're making it authentic, but they really do look like the sort of Bonnie and Clyde look, and yeah, on the run, being chased. So that is interesting that they even mentioned it in this press conference. And yeah, Wild at Heart and Natural Born Killers, all a similar theme. So this this tone seems a bit dark and stylized, certainly very punk, and that's pretty cool. So definitely the visuals evoke that whole 1930s Chicago noir, smoky streets, definitely the period costumes, gritty textures. So that's cool. If you're going to do it right. And yeah, the relationship between them seems framed more as outlaw lovers and partners in crime. Tragic mismatched souls. And I always think that is a pretty cool take on what you would hope, Frankenstein's monster and the bride, because, well, they are very sad souls that were brought back to life and nobody, asked them. They're brought back to life and have no idea of the memory of even growing up and being human. And in a lot of ways, I think those memories and, the natural progression of a human life from childhood to adolescence to adulthood, even though a lot of adults still act like children, there is a natural purpose to that. You can't fall out of the sky. As an adult, you would be confused. This also sort of probably spills over into a lot of the, movies that we all love, android and artificial life movies, whether it's Blade Runner or Terminator, but especially in Blade Runner, those themes are sort of explored in that, you're creating a very intelligent being from life, and it has no safety net, something to fall back on to I suppose, keep its emotions in check. Again, assuming you had a good life. If you had a terrible life, well, I think the writing's on the wall with that. You would see that person usually ends up with problems as an adult. But, you had a semi-stable life, you can look back at the memories and maybe they can help stabilize you. So anyway, I think that's interesting that these two might actually have found each other and found, solace in each other. Again, the original Bride of Frankenstein, and other versions of that, the bride actually usually falls in love with Dr. Frankenstein and rejects the monster. That's a bit sad. Why does it have to be like that? So the cast, Christian Bale as Frankenstein's monster. That's pretty cool because, as you know, Christian Bale will throw himself in any role, as he should. He's a professional, and I think he'll definitely love the makeup part, because we all know he's a perfectionist. The movie The Machinist, he lost all that weight for real, a lot of weight, and he's someone that I was making the joke. Oh yeah, those scars on his face and the horrible bent nose as the monster, that's real, of course, because it's Christian Bale. Yeah, he just said, nah, just hit me really hard and take the knife. No prosthetics. Go ahead and let's cut into my face. Yeah, I'm joking, but he is someone that, would throw himself into his work as such a perfectionist that he would ask for real scars. Jessica Buckley as the bride. She looks really pretty cool with that. Annette Bening's in there. I don't think I saw her in the trailer. So again, this isn't a spoiler. You can look this up. Actually, so she plays Dr. Euphronius. No idea if I'm saying that right. So this is the person that Frankenstein's monster, we'll call him Frankie, that Frankie goes to ask to help, make him a bride. And finding, obviously, who they find to bring back to life. Peter Sarsgaard, he's always pretty solid. Funny enough, that is Gyllenhaal's husband. So hey, that's okay. Nepotism. Why not throw a family member in there, especially if they're good? Penelope Cruz, whatever. Sorry, I have no feeling one way or the other about Penelope Cruz since the Tom Cruise days, whatever. And Jake Gyllenhaal, I think just a bit of a side part, but that's pretty standard. And, look, they've been in movies before, Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie, both in Donnie Darko, of course, playing brother and sister, which is great. And they're actually good in that because, sometimes, and this happens a lot in movies or TV, someone who is related, brother and sister, it's funny, either they're trying to make it so that, they don't come across so obvious, but in this one, I don't know what to say. They came across really, really natural as brother and sister because they are. I'm just saying it doesn't always translate to the screen. And a quick one about, again, Christian Bale. I was just thinking back, man, his first movie, was Steven Spielberg's Empire of the Sun. And I was thinking, how old was he in that? And then I was like, oh, wait, he is the exact same age as me. And I'm not going to tell you what that is. But I'm just saying, I remember seeing it. It turns out I was the same age as him when he was in Empire of the Sun. I will tell you when it came out. It came out in 1987. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think, the sort of natural retelling of Bride Frankenstein movies, where the bride either rejects the monster or is tragically killed. I think it's more interesting that they've applied this sort of formula, which looks like it's going to be a little bit more fun. And yeah, a lot of the early reactions seem to be pretty positive. The trailer's been pretty well received. But yeah, I'm just interested in what these kind of movies can be. When Hollywood wants to take a chance. I also will point out, I'm not saying they're only driven by money these days, but it does seem like they're trying to go for something that is not always going to work. There was sort of the Marvel years. That was 10 amazing years, but I think that was honestly lightning in a bottle. That was specific to that time. All the stars aligned, and you can't keep trying to reproduce that. It will never work quite right. That's life in general. It just doesn't work like that. You need to let art be what it's going to be and take a chance. And again, I made fun of this in the break. I was saying that another Avatar movie is coming out, and I was again kind of thinking, well, whatever. And I love James Cameron. He is the man. Aliens and Terminator. He is the man. True Lies. That's one of my favorites. And obviously a brilliant visionary. And yes, both Avatar movies have made like billions. So that's not going to be a problem. And okay, it's an ongoing story. That's fine. Like many trilogies that become 4 and 5, and before you know it, it's, Jaws 12. But okay, if he has a vision and he wants to have 3, okay, I think I heard there's going to be 4. Anyway, I'm not knocking that. That's his vision. But still, it's still nothing fresh. It's not like something you have never seen before. And I'm going to, again, I'm talking about this movie, but it's still making me think about other movies that I think were catalysts that became ingrained in pop culture. But at the time, people were just interested and excited to go see it. And the audience, again, will tell you whether they like it or not. You don't have to do 50 reshoots. It just doesn't help. It either is going to work or it doesn't. So I'm going to give this example. This was 1988. I remember going with my best friend, Jason. We were already huge movie buffs. And, we would talk about all the movies we've seen. And we sat down to a movie that was just unlike anything we'd ever really seen before. And yeah, that can still happen. But I do feel like in the 80s and 90s, that happened more often than not. At least once a year, there'd be a movie you sat down and go, oh, wow. Even if it was from a director that you knew or actors that you knew, sometimes it would be fresh actors. You're like, oh, wow. Or it would be an actor who takes a turn and does something out of the norm. And so this one, you're going to laugh. It was Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. But I'm just saying, for anyone who looks back and just goes, oh, that looks like a crazy, wacky 80s movie. But it wasn't. Up until then, 80s movies did have kind of a tone. And yeah, there were the action movies. But Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, what is this? What is this thing I'm even watching? But from the minute, that first song came on, that was a great song from Big Pig, actually, Australian band. We were just sat there. I remember we looked at each other like, this is already just going to be cool. And it just was. Okay. And yeah, of course that would kick off, Keanu Reeves. But it's not just about that. I think the movie, George Carlin, fantastic. It was so, okay, it had time travel. Sure, time travel had been done. But compared to Back to the Future, I'm going to be honest, Back to the Future is really a movie about sort of showing the as much as there were differences, the 80s and the 50s had some similarities. But anyway, it was mostly about him going back and, having to fix his mistake and get his parents together. It wasn't a wacky time travel movie, okay? There were only 2 trips. But yeah, with Bill and Ted's, yeah, they just took it and ran with it. Traveling through time, picking up historical figures, bringing them back for their high school final essay. And Bill and Ted, well, of course, were Bill and Ted and wacky. So yeah, I just wish there were more movies like that. And that also was a favorite. And then also, could spark, someone thinking about different ideas. Yeah, again, maybe then they try to make movies similar to Bill and Ted, sure. But I wish Hollywood would think outside the box again. So yeah, The Bride, I'm hoping it can be really cool. I hope it's not, someone was saying, I saw one review, this is typical. It said, oh, is this finally the feminist version of The Bride that we've all been waiting for? No, it's not, because no one in the entire universe said that out loud. No one even thought that. No one in the world thought, oh, you know what? I really wish we could get a feminist version of The Bride. That's not a thing. So, and again, this has nothing to do with anything against strong female leads. We all love strong female leads. We love Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley, Terminator and Alien. We love it when it's earned, just like any hero, whatever gender you are, male or female, when it's earned, and they don't have to knock down their counterpart to be on top. And that's unfortunately what happens in a lot of movies now, that they think the hero female lead has to be. They have to be badass, boss lady, and they also have to make sure to downplay and also, sort of denigrate their counterpart, which is usually a man. It's like, look, just, can we get it over with? Just, I think we've had a good run of everyone tell us that, you hate us. So, okay, you hate the men in the movie, but no one's looking for that. And you know what's funny? Here's the funny thing about a lot of those movies where the entire movie constantly makes sure that they say, well, because she's awesome and she's the best, and the character themselves, that's because I am awesome and I'm the best, and I'm awesome and all of you suck. And that's the constant theme through the movie. You know who doesn't turn up? The female audience also doesn't turn up. That's a fact, because no one wants to see that. So yeah, when someone says, is this the feminist version of The Bride? I hope not, because that makes no sense. But yeah, I do like 1930s Chicago setting. That is pretty cool. The partners in crime formula, I like that. I also ask, like, what's the balance between horror, romance, and maybe a little bit of, comedy? I don't know. We'll see. As a director, we'll see how she does. Will the Bride story arc be as tragic as the past, or will it be something a bit new? I'm sure there'll be a twist. There always has to be a twist. Makeup and effects design, is that enough to sell it? Well, no. I think if the actors bring it, that's the next level. But yeah, and this was the one last thing I wanted to say. This movie, if it's done right, I tell you, this could have been what I think the Joker 2, I forget the full name, the Joker sequel, this is what people wanted and didn't get, because that movie, was a complete miss. So imagine that. Imagine if that is more the partners in crime for, Joker and Harley Quinn, to get together and go around town just going, let's just lean into it. Let's just lean into the crazy. Why not? Frankie and the Bride, let's just lean into it. No idea what's going on, but we're both alive, so let's live it. There is a part where Christian Bale, again, watch the trailer, it is fantastic. They're being chased by a bunch of rowdy guys, and they end up hurting her, the bride. You can imagine Frankie didn't like that too much, so he comes back, and he does some Frankenstein's monster stuff to them, let me tell you. And a lot of, and smashing, smash, very Hulk smash, Frankie smash. Anyway, when he's done doing what he does, she's looking at him, and he kind of goes, his face is all messed up, till death do us part. Well, he got a bit of that right. I'm not sure it meant surrounded by death, but yeah, I think if that tone stayed and the trailer is exactly what the rest of the movie's like, very often it's not, I would be all in, and I'm very interested. But like anything, you don't know till it comes out. So I'll definitely be doing a review of this movie, and I'm hopeful, because again, horrors are hit and miss, and especially one like this, which is really a revival of something interlaced in pop culture. Horror, The Bride of Frankenstein. How much can we give it a twist before we twist it too much where the audience goes, nah, I'm not into it. But yeah, I have hopes. Maggie Gyllenhaal, that's pretty cool. All right, well, that's it for this sort of trailer reaction and review. More great music coming up next on our Electric 80s episode of Radio in Motion after a word from our awesome sponsors.